Thanks to those joining me live and to those that'll be joining me on Archive D Style here. All right, I am being joined by a Haplotype. What's up, Haplotype?
How's it going, man? It's good to be here as always. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Let me ask you something, man. What is the most important punch in all of boxing?
Oh, I would say a little punch called the jab.
That is right, and you make sure you guys throw a jab at the like button. Okay, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you like the content. Let's go ahead and get those likes up ASAP. Uh, Quick update: I did finally create a Cash App. That's a $ D Style Boxing. If you want to donate $1 per month to the $1 initiative for the D Style Boxing Fund to help support the channel, all proceeds go to the channel itself. Okay. Um, and also this is actually this segment or this live stream. It's being brought to you by Sharpie. All right, you see that Apple type?
Yeah,
Okay,
I saw the picture you put up earlier. I was like, all right, the Sharpie's back.
the Sharpie is back. You know what else is back? A poll. The polls are back. Make sure you guys go vote on the polls. Go to D Style Boxing's channel. If you're watching this video right now, you can go to the bottom, click on it. You can also go to youtube.com/D Style Boxing /community. If you want to open it in a different page so you don't lose the live feed, make sure you go and you place your votes, right? Let your voice be heard. Right now, we have Carl Froch at the brink of elimination. Okay. And he's on a 6 week. If he doesn't win, he is out. He is done. Okay, regardless of what percentage he gets. And then, of course, we have Winky Wright, who has about 50%. The last time I checked, he is on the lead right now. Looks like he's going to win it, but it's not over yet. So make sure you get your votes in. We've got Paul the Punisher Williams in the mix. And, of course, Cali Pavlik has joined the field. Who did you vote for, Appletape?
I voted for Williams.
Paul
I really
Williams,
like the
okay.
Punisher. Yeah.
Yeah, I think what is he like?
I saw when I went on earlier, there were a lot of votes for Froch, so I'm thinking Calix probably got there before I did.
Now, quick announcement. We have reached the 60th vote just now, so there someone will advance, and the deadline is at the end of Thursday's show. Okay, so you have plenty of time to vote, but go ahead and do it now. Go vote early, right? Go vote early. And as we stand right now, Carl Froch is 17%. Long way to go, but it's his last week, guys. Last week. Cali Pavlik was 7%. He just needs 5% on his debut week. So we'll see how it goes for him. Ronald Wright, 50% right now. He's holding strong. So 30 people out of 60 voted for Ronald Wright. And, of course, Paul, the Punisher
I'm a little
Williams,
surprised by
27%.
all the love for Winky. But,
Well, Winky Wright is, yeah. And he was kind of, he was surviving the previous weeks, but he wasn't, I don't think he was ever like second place or anything. He was always like third place or something like that. But sometimes last place, but enough votes to, continue. But this week, it might be his week. It might be his time. Just like his career, like bloomed later on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, kind of echoes that.
Absolutely, man. All right. Quick shout out to G Funky 84 Boxing in the house. Rod Neal in the house. AJ10, of course. He voted for Winky Wright. So we know who one of those people are. Shen Smoke says, "What's good, D Style? What's going on, guys? Make sure you throw a jab. Throw a jab at the like button as you come in." All right. We had quite a weekend of fights, Haplotype. We're going to get to the main fight, to the title of the video in a little bit. But I need to get your thoughts on Pernell, Sweet Pea Whitaker, and his passing.
Oh, man. Yeah, it was very sad. I mean, it's really too bad, someone like that goes out in such a weird, getting hit by a car. You would never expect that. It kind of shocked me.
Right.
I was always a big Pernell Whitaker fan. I saw him for the first time as a kid at the 1984 Olympics. Actually, maybe the only live fight I've ever seen, or the live fights I've ever seen with my grandfather, who's also no longer with us. But we watched and we got to see him in one of the early rounds, and he was just amazing. So that stuck with me. So I always looked out for him whenever, his career continued. And there was this big event they did later when that whole team all turned pro together on the same night. I was at the Forum. I remember watching that. Um, but yeah, I mean, just an incredible, incredible talent. Definitely, I would say, top three defensive fighters of all time in my book. Um, and I liked his defensive style better than some of the other ones because he would turn it into offense. He wasn't just playing defense and then switching to offense later. He incorporated both at the same time. So,
Right.
the thing I really liked about him was that even though he was defensive, his fights weren't boring to me ever. Um, so, yeah, I mean, that's what I remember most about Pernell Whitaker.
Yeah, Pernell Whitaker, man, great fighter, and like you said, great defensive fighter, great fighter, period. But um, he's definitely up there, man, with the all-time greats. I have him up there, man. Um, he's one of the greatest, best lightweights of all time, for sure.
Yeah, definitely top five lightweight.
Even as a welterweight, I think he's a really good welterweight as well. So this guy was a hell of a fighter, man, and he will be. I mean, he's already missed because he wasn't boxing anymore, but it still hurts that he's no longer with us, and it's kind of sad how he had to go. Everybody, I never got any updates on that story, and I honestly don't
Me
follow
either.
up on stuff like that because it's not going to change anything. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's not going to change
All I
anything.
heard, the only thing I heard was that the guy didn't run, that he stayed around and,
Okay.
took responsibility for it. Um, but I don't know any of the circumstances beyond that.
Yeah, he was unbelievable, man. He made a lot of defensive fighters Haplotype are good at what they do, right? But um, they take advantage of guys who make dumb decisions and then they make them pay, right? Don't utilize the jab so they make them pay. If they lead with an uppercut and they make them pay. Wait for them to get frustrated or and do something impulsive and they make them pay. A lot of defensive fighters do that. Whitaker could be fighting the best possible technical fight, making the right decisions 100%, and it would still make you look bad. You know what I mean?
Oh,
It's
yeah.
that's what made Whitaker special in my mind. That's what made him amazing. Is that it's not so much that the guy he's fighting is doing something wrong, is that Whitaker was just that good. So he would definitely be missed, man. Plus, I mean, Whitaker. I mean, I know we all say defensive fighter, but he will land a lot of punches in his fights,
Oh, yeah.
a lot.
That's what
So
made him exciting because he was able to turn that defense into offense where other guys are either sort of doing one or the other at a time, you know?
yes, yeah, he'll definitely be missed, man. I know he's one of very few fighters that have landed over 500 punches in a fight. Um,
Yep.
so it's you don't get there if all you do is defense. You know what I mean? This is definite. And that's punches landed, by the way.
His combos, he was able to
Yeah.
put together punches beautifully when he let his hands go.
And Perfection says Sweep is one of the few that would make a fighter look stupid. You could say that again. The Ass One Addict says when it comes to the best of all time, Pac is in the conversation. Mayweather, he is not. TB does not duck and dodge fighters after the prime on purpose. Says that's what he says. We're going to get to that in a little bit. All right, but that's one of your thoughts on Sweet Pea, of course. Now, with that said, we're going to run through really quick here.
One last
Sure.
quick thing about Sweet Pea.
Go
Sorry
ahead.
to interrupt. I find it amazing that someone like him who is so good
Yeah.
is probably remembered more for his losses and draws than he is for his
The wins,
wins. Because even in times, I've never seen a guy quite like him, where no matter if he lost on the cards or not, like nobody thought he lost. Like
Right.
it was always like, this is total BS.
Just
He
those judges
won.
and shit. Yeah.
Yeah, just whoever was paid to write those scorecards out. But yeah, that to me is a unique quality about him.
No,
His
definitely.
best fights were ones that he was kind of robbed in.
Yeah. Like I think the Chavez performance is unbelievable. I think what he did in that fight. And it's not so much what Chavez was doing wrong, but just what Whitaker was doing right, and he was just an unbelievable fighter.
Well, to
It,
be able to do that against Chavez, who's an
yeah.
incredible fighter in his own right, is just,
Yes.
puts you on a pedestal in my book.
Yeah, man. Most definitely. And I hear you, AJ10. We're going to get to that. But first, recapping these fights, man. Ugas Figueroa. I mean, Ugas put a beating on Figueroa. That's the main thing here. Should they have stopped, in your opinion, should they have stopped that fight? His corner, that is. Figueroa's corner, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think they should have probably.
Yeah, he didn't stand a shot in that fight. He wasn't going to win that fight.
Yeah.
What was the point?
I mean, you let it go for a while, and then, when you see your guy just can't do anything, you got to stop it.
Yeah, absolutely. Neri, Payano. Neri won a couple rounds, lost a round or two in my scorecard, but for the most part, he was winning. He was putting on constant pressure, was going to the body a lot, going upstairs. He landed upstairs a little more, and once that started, Payano opened himself to the body, and that's when the nice gancho al hígado by Neri landed, dropped Payano, and Neri won. Payano, you could have counted, dude. You could have counted to 50, bro. He wasn't gonna get up.
Yeah, I missed that one, but yeah, it sounds like a good one. I'm gonna have to check that out.
So it sounds like a way a Mexican would end the fight, Actually, but now the Ugas at 147. What do you see for him? What do you think? Should he fight the winner of Porter Spence? Should he maybe go another route? What do you think he should do?
I think a better fight for him would be if he could land a Danny Garcia fight.
Okay.
Yeah, before he takes on Porter or Spence. Porter or Spence is a very interesting fight, in my opinion. I think it might have been a tactical error on Spence's part by taking on Porter instead of Crawford.
Right.
Because if he loses to Crawford, no one's going to hold that too much against him.
Yeah.
Where if Porter has a good night, he's not just going to beat you, but he's going to take a piece of you. He's like that animal in there that just, even if you win, he's still leaving a piece of you behind in that ring. So, I think the better idea for him would have been to fight Crawford. And, if he could beat Crawford, he would get a lot of praise. And even if he lost, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. But
right.
I don't know.
If you lose, you're supposed to lose. Basically, that's what the perception's going to be.
Right.
Look, man, I like Ugas. I like that. I actually talked about that this weekend. Garcia, Ugas beats Danny Garcia. All right, you guys can mark that shit down. All right, and if that fight happens, I'm telling you right now, Garcia's going to open as a favorite. Go bet on Ugas early, bro, before the line moves. That's what I'm telling you, and I give you that advice for free. Ugas beats Garcia. That's in my opinion. I don't know if Haplo agrees, but I think he beats Garcia.
I think you're probably right. Danny has been inactive a little bit, and he's getting older, and I think he always achieved over his head in boxing. Yeah. I think his talent level wasn't as high as his achievements.
Right.
So I could see Ugas beating him as a young lion.
Yeah, I mean, he won a belt from an old Morales and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, what are you going to do? But and then the Matisse win, it didn't age well. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it was a big win, and I give him credit. It was a big win for him, but it didn't age well. You know what I mean by that? Like it's
totally. Because at the
yeah.
time, Matisse seemed like he was. I think a lot of people had him, as a better fighter than Maidana, which didn't turn out to be the case, in my opinion. But at that time, people thought, "Wow, this guy's incredible," and he hasn't really done much since then. You know.
And then, of course, I want to give a shout out, by the way, to Blood Boxing, saying he wished he bet his whole bank account on Ruiz. Well, didn't we all? Right. And also, Chicano Profit donation $4.99 to the D-Style Boxing Fund. He says, hey, D-Style, I can't stick around long, but I wanted to say what's up and support the channel. What's going on? And I'm here with Haplotype, of course, 10 p.m. Eastern Time every Monday, guys. Make sure you always tune in. Thank you very much, Chicano Profit.
Salute to Blood, salute to Chicano Profit and AG10 all in the chat.
Definitely. And by the way, Chicano he actually has a small YouTube channel. Make sure you guys go show support and go check him out. Subscribe. All right. Not right now though. Right now, so stay right here right now. Okay. But write down. Get a Sharpie. Write down Chicano Profit and then boxing and then go look for it later. But stay right here for now. All right. All right. Pacquiao is an all-time great Hall of Famer, but in terms of the GOAT, no, says YouTube algorithm. We got YouTube algorithm in the house. What's going on? Okay, we got some dudes showing up. What's going on? All right. Before we get to the big topics, I know people are looking at the title and like, okay, come on, guys. But hey, chill. All right. Neri Payano. Let me tell you something. Yes, I understand that in a way. All right. Knocked out Payano in the first round. It was a beautiful knockout. Okay, he caught him with I believe, I'm 100% sure it was a right hand. 99.9% sure, right hand. Knocked up. It was a beautiful knockout. But chill. Okay, calm down. Right, calm down. Neri still clearly won. He still put away his man with a body shot. Okay, chill. Neri, mark my words. This is just me talking. I don't want to put words in Haplotype's mouth, but this is me talking. Neri's going to beat the shit out of Inouye. All right? You wait for that. He's going to beat him if they make that fight. I'm telling you right now, and I hope and pray that Inouye's a big favorite in that fight, and I think he will be. Like a 2-1, I'm betting money in that fight. You guys better bet on that shit before Mexicans move that line, okay? Make sure you bet on it early. I'm letting you know now. No need to subscribe and pay bookies and go to a dark corner somewhere with a bookie. DStyle's telling you what's going to happen, right? But that's all I got to say about that, right? You have any opinion on that, about the whole annoying thing, or we're going to say in a way, just move on?
Not too much of an opinion. I could see you being right there, though. I think annoying is getting a little overhyped right now.
Yeah. And by the way, it's not just because he's getting overhyped. He is getting overhyped, right? But I'm not being impulsive. Look, anyone who's been subscribing for, I don't make impulsive decisions when I tell you who I think is going to win, right? Right? Like, and I have a pretty good batting average. It's an okay bat. I think it's pretty solid. I'm telling you, Neri beats Inouye, okay? And Inouye's going to be dangerous for 2-3 rounds. After that, it's a wrap, okay? Let me tell you, Inouye better learn some like judo and Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and because he's gonna have to be an octopus. Okay, when Neri gets inside, he's gonna have to hold for his life, right? And Neri knows how to fight off of the clinch, so it's gonna be a long night, man. He's not gonna fight Inouye at distance, guys, where he's gonna clock him and knock him out. He's gonna close that distance, and I'm telling you, D-Style is telling you, all right. So anyway, just wanted to go ahead and say that. Pacquiao Thurman, I think Haplotype. I mean, I had Pacquiao winning a close decision. I think you had the same prediction. I don't remember.
I did.
Okay, and you also said that Thurman's being out of the ring's it is a big X factor. You were right about that. A lot of people were just overlooking that just because he had one fight back with Josito Lopez. And, of course, there's always that X factor with that age. Manny Pacquiao, Thurman, I talked a lot about this fight already, but what are your thoughts on the aftermath of that fight?
Um, I thought Thurman would have been better served to have had that fight before his long layoff when he was still the real Thurman. To me, his personality has changed a lot, and he's gone back on a lot of his philosophies. I thought that he did pretty well in the middle rounds there. I mean, it was close, but Pacquiao just, did his Pacquiao thing and outworked him, got that knockdown.
Yeah.
That was sort of the icing on the cake. I don't think you can really score it for Thurman, considering that he got knocked down. Um, but, I think also that Thurman made a tactical error in some of the stuff he was saying leading up to the fight. Pacquiao acts like he's this nice guy and stuff, but when you get in that ring with him, if he
Yep.
doesn't like you, just look at Margarito. I don't think he liked Margarito because of the stuff Margarito was saying about Roach, and I think he punished him in there. And I think Thurman got a little taste of that from an older Manny Pacquiao,
Yep.
in this fight. There are guys like Wilder who will go in there and tell you they're trying to kill you, and there are guys like Pacquiao who will just smile and laugh and joke around. But when he goes in there, he's trying to hurt you. So it turned out pretty much just how I thought it would,
Yeah.
and I enjoyed it.
It was a nice close fight, man. I gave Pacquiao the first 4 rounds and Thurman 1 round in there, and then the next four, Pacquiao 1 round in there, but Thurman won, 3. So I had it, and then I had Thurman winning the 9th round. So going into, because of the knockdown, into the championship rounds, it really came down to who was going to win the championship rounds. I give Manny round 10. He landed a nice body shot. I gave Thurman round 11, and I had Pacquiao edging out round 12. I think that experience did play a big factor. I do want to say this, though. I know there's a lot of people coming out. Look, you could say it. You think Manny Pacquiao's juicy, okay? But this is what I'll say. All right. First of all, he didn't look like he was. He didn't look any different to me, guys. I know. You guys are pretending like he looked. He looked a lot better in this fight than he did in the last few fights. One, Broner didn't want to fight. Right. It's tough to look, you know, amazing when one dude does not want to fight. Thurman was actually fighting back. Right. Thurman was actually winning rounds against Manny Pacquiao. He landed some good hooks on Pacquiao actually, despite the fact that Pacquiao's moving away from there. Manny looks like that against guys that are hookers, bro. He circles away from those guys. And also, he hurt Thurman to the body, and he couldn't finish him off because he was tired. Okay? So I just wanted to throw that out there. And look, you have a right to your opinion. If you think Manny Pacquiao, we don't know if he's using or not, all right? And I didn't see something in this fight that's, oh my god, that's too unbelievable to see. I saw Bernard Hopkins look amazing in his mid-40s, and he wasn't testing either. All right, so we have to, if we're gonna be across the board with it, be across the board with it. All right. But I remember Hopkins getting up wanting to fight Pascal in a press conference, because Pascal was, calling him out for not doing testing. The difference is Pascal wanted testing. Thurman was all right with no testing. How do we not know Thurman wasn't the one juicing? You don't know if Thurman was on a juice. So if two guys agree to fight, all right, and they're both millionaires, could afford it if they want it, then they agree to fight, and it's fire with fire. Just let it be. That's just my thoughts on that. You have any thoughts on that, Haplotype?
Yeah, I thought that Pacquiao looked more hurt in this fight than he did against Broner. I didn't like the way he looked after the fight. Personally, I think he should retire and just go out on a high note, because it is sort of like when remember when Nassim Richardson used to talk about Hopkins, and he would say, the only thing people haven't seen is you getting your ass knocked out. Well, we've seen Pacquiao get knocked out, but I mean, we haven't really seen him get destroyed and embarrassed. Even in the fight where he got knocked out, he was still doing pretty well up until that point.
Right.
So, do I think he should go on and continue and fight guys like Spence and Crawford? No. I don't think so. I think beating Thurman was a great little icing on the cake. You just beat Broner, you beat Thurman. I personally thought he looked, if anything, better against Broner. He was fresher at the end of that fight. In this fight, he had swelling.
Well, because Broner didn't want to fight, bro.
Yeah, Broner wasn't throwing, but
Pacquiao, like I could be wrong. I think he threw more punches in the Broner fight. I could be wrong, but if AJ, can you find me the punch stats for both fights? Punches thrown by Manny Pacquiao, please. We got a fact checker on here. By the way, this show is brought to you by Sharpie. All right. I'm gonna make sure I ship these out to Calix and Haplotype. They're gonna be co-hosts. They need a Sharpie. All right. I'm
all
saying.
right. I
All
want
right.
my official D-style Sharpie.
You know what? I should start like merch, like D style Sharpies. You know, so instead of
That'd be
Sharpie, it'll
good.
say D style or some shit. I don't know. It's an idea. Okay.
D Sharpie.
D Sharpie. All right. By the way, make sure you guys throw a jab. I see a little few more people on here than there's likes. Throw a jab at the like button. Give me that 15th like. Let's get to 20 likes. All right. Within the next few minutes here, let's get there. Throw a jab at the like button. All right. Says it right there. All right. Make sure you throw it. There you go. All right. But I agree with you. Anybody but Spencer Budd. But I will say this, though. If Manny wants to be a champion in the division, even if he's 40 years old, I don't want to hear anyone say he's the best in the division unless he actually is going to fight.
Yeah, that's the thing.
All right, that's just the thing. Yeah.
If he wants to keep going, he's going to have to fight those two guys. And I don't think he wins either one of those fights at this point.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think he could have beaten those guys a few years ago, but he waited too long. He's getting old. Like, just go out on a high note. But if you stay, you're going to have to fight one of those guys.
Yeah, you have to fight one of those guys. Again, because I'm already seeing people saying he's the best in the division. You know?
Well, I think if either deserve it, it would be Crawford because he was actively trying to fight Pacquiao.
Yep.
And Pacquiao was over at Top Rank. And
yeah, I don't blame Pacquiao for not taking it. But
yeah, I don't blame him for not taking it either. But if he's going to stick around, then he's got to give the guy a fight.
Yeah. And now another fight that's possible is the Mayweather fight. Mayweather was there. I don't think it's likely, but just throwing it out there. I do not want to see that fight again. Personally, I think that fight was trash. I'm just telling everybody out there right now, both guys look like trash to me. Mayweather won the fight. I think he won it pretty clearly. Right. But that was the worst output either guy ever had in their careers. It was atrocious.
I thought both of them deserved to lose that fight.
Yeah, if that was possible, right? If this was like in the early days of boxing, man, they would have stopped that shit and none of them would have gotten paid. Now, I'm not saying that's right, but that's probably what would have happened. All right.
Like
I think they both
tickle contest.
Yeah, dude. Like both guys had like this. I always like to quote Teddy Atlas, but I do think they had like a silent agreement there. You know what I mean? Like Pacquiao was just content with, all right, so I'm gonna get outpointed here, but I'm gonna be all right. And then Mayweather was just like, well, he's all right with that, so I guess I'm okay with it too. And that's just how the fight ended. I don't think either guy looked spectacular in that fight. I think they both looked like shit. It was a glorified sparring match. They charged people $100 for that fight, right? Plus tax.
Well, just the way it built over the years and all the animosity that was involved with the fans of both guys hating each other so much. And like, then they get in there and they don't go for it. You know, it was just really a big, big, big letdown.
Okay.
Hurt the sport. You know, I don't want to see it again. I hope that whole mania doesn't start up again. Like, right. I'm so glad that it's not here anymore.
Okay, so I just want to look at the numbers. AJ found them here. Right. Okay. So Pacquiao threw 568 in the Broner fight. He threw 686 in the Thurman fight. Okay, fair enough. 100 more punches in his fight, but that's still not a high output. That's pretty normal for a welterweight fight, guys. All right. And as far as in the Broner fight, Broner didn't want to fight, dude. Broner did not want to fight.
Yeah, I mean he coasted. He coasted to a decision because Broner let him coast to a decision.
Yeah. And then I saw somebody say that, well, Manny was doing, look, he was young again. He was shuffling his feet. He's done that every fight, guys. Do I need to go back and do a video show you guys Manny Pacquiao shuffling his feet after the first or second round of every fight? All right. So do I need to do that? Do I need to go out of my way? All right.
Not for me.
Like, oh, he's shuffling his feet. Man, is there a boxer that can't shuffle his feet like that? With a jump rope they do? I mean, come on. Like I'm saying.
Yeah.
Maybe Margarito. I don't think Margarito can shuffle his feet, or Maidana. There's some fighters that probably can't, but still. With that said, I want to before we get to the main course here. Today is July 22nd of 2019.
Yes,
Haplotype,
sir.
today in boxing history, in the rich history of boxing, what has July 22nd given us?
Well, really not that much. Not a very popular date. There was one important fight that I found, which is Cassius Clay versus Alonzo Johnson, July 22nd, 1961. The fight is up on YouTube if you want to go watch that. It's sort of early in Muhammad Ali's career. I'm not calling him Cassius Clay to be disrespectful. That was his official name at the time. Give you a little description of it. This was his 8th fight. It says Cassius Clay, a newcomer to the professional ranks, scored a unanimous 10-round decision Saturday night over veteran Alonzo Johnson in a nationally televised fight. Clay, indifferent through the early rounds, finally went to work in the 9th and 10th and had his opponent hanging on at the end of the fight. Uh, this ran Clay's record to 8-0, and of course, we all know he went on to become the great Muhammad Ali and beat Sonny Liston. But one thing that was interesting in watching this to me was, how small he looked in this fight. He was only 192 pounds in this fight, and the other guy was 189. So this wouldn't have even been a heavyweight fight in today's boxing. But yeah, I could see why at that time that people, why someone like a Sonny Liston would be a heavy favorite over Cassius Clay, because he just looked so thin and young and like a little boy almost. But he did show flashes of his greatness in this fight. It wasn't quintessential Ali, but he did his thing. He got the victory, and he went on to bigger and better things. I will just mention, because of the Pernell Whitaker situation, that Pernell Whitaker did have a fight on July 25th. And I know it's only the 22nd right now, but he fought, let's see, who was it? July 25th, Miguel Santana, and in that fight, he retained the NABF lightweight title. These are minor titles that you don't really hear that much about anymore, but he retained the NABF lightweight title, and he won the vacant USBA lightweight title on his way to going on and winning the WBC lightweight title a little bit later. Actually, his first one was the IBF, sorry. So, yeah, good fight. Beats Miguel Santana of Puerto Rico by TKO. And that's today in boxing history.
Absolutely, man. Thank you guys again getting us over that 20. Let's get to 30 likes. We're at 21 likes right now. Make sure you throw a jab. Throw a jab at that like button. Right? Says it right there. Right? Check it out. Bees Nuts with $9.99. The DStyleBoxing Fund. All proceeds stay on a channel, help support the channel. Thank you very much for that donation. Shout out to Bees Nuts. Sounds funny saying that. But anyway, look, I want to say this, man. I woke up this morning and two people sent me a screen. If you guys want to put in the comments or whatever, it's up to you. But they sent me a screenshot of one of Ali Setback's polls, man. Right? And it's who's the greatest fighter of all time. And if I remember correctly, it had Manny Pacquiao, Muhammad Ali, Cesar Chavez, and Floyd Mayweather. Right? I don't know if it had somebody else, but I believe those were the names. And Pacquiao was dominating the poll. Like, he dominated the poll. He's the best of all time after this performance against Keith Thurman. And of course, I'm seeing a lot on social media this talk again, right, about Pacquiao. Look, he was 40, turned back the clock. He's the best of all time. Look, Well, before I give what are your thoughts on this, Haplotype?
Well, I think it's silly, personally. Obviously, Ellie Seckback has a big subscriber base, and a lot of those people are casual boxing fans, in my opinion. And of course, a casual in 2019 is going to pick the name that they recognize the most. He's also covered Pacquiao quite a bit, probably the most of any fighter. If not him, it was Mayweather. So I could see why his subscribers may vote that way, but in all reality, to me, Pacquiao still has not even come close to cracking the top 10 of greatest fighters of all time. I can give you my list if you want to hear those.
Sure, go ahead.
Well, I have Robinson first, and then Greb.
Yeah.
Then Benny Leonard is my third. Then Muhammad Ali. Then Sam Langford. Then Henry Armstrong. Then Archie Moore. Then Jersey Joe Walcott. Not Jersey Joe Walcott. Sorry, wrong Walcott. Barbados Walcott.
Okay.
Then Casaneri, and then Gans is number 10.
Hey, Jersey Joe's still a good fighter, though.
Oh, if I was doing heavyweights, I'd have him somewhere in there. But
gotcha.
I got confused because I just wrote down Walcott.
No, but Haplotype, you don't understand Haplotype. Pacquiao's won in 8 different divisions, Haplotype.
Yeah, that's true. But when these guys were fighting, there were only 8 divisions in some cases.
But Haplotype, you don't understand. Ali he was only a champion in 1 division. He only won 1 belt, Haplotype. You don't understand.
But he did win a gold medal at light heavyweight, though.
But Haplotype, you don't understand. He's the only fighter in history to win a fight at 40 years old, Haplotype.
No, not true at all.
Or he's the only fighter to beat someone of the quality of Keith Thurman. Haplotype. At age 40.
I think personally that George Foreman beating Michael Moore at 45, I think it was a better achievement than Pacquiao beating Thurman at 40.
No. But you don't understand. Manny Pacquiao he's the only boxer to come from poverty, okay, and become world champion. Don't you understand?
No, every guy on my list, with maybe the exception of Ali, because he sort of came from more of a middle class background.
But you don't understand. He's a Christian. He's a good person.
Well, that doesn't make you a good boxer. I mean, it helps, but whatever.
Shout out to Tinkayo saying props for that history. Right. So props to Haplotype.
Thanks.
Let me tell you, man. You know what gets to me, bro? When they talk about this 8 division shit, what gets to me is the people who counter it are like arguing that he's really not 8 division because one was at a catch weight and one
lineal. They were lineal. 2 of them were lineal.
Yeah, only 2, and then the one because Barrera actually I forgot if he was stripped or just gave up the belt to fight Pacquiao and he lost to Pacquiao, but they kind of count that for Pacquiao. You know what I mean? It was for the ring belt, but people got it confused though. Stop making that argument. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We live in an inflated era. Okay, the belts are inflated. We got 4 now. It's even worse. Now we got like 6 fucking belts per division, and we got more divisions than ever. I mean, it's insane. So it doesn't matter like whether it's true or not that he's an 8 division champion. All right. Like, I'm not going to get into the specifics of it. It doesn't make him the best of all time, even if it is true. All right. I give him the title, whatever, 8 division world champion. So what? It's not as impressive as what Henry Armstrong did.
I was just going to say that.
Explain to people what Henry Armstrong did.
Oh God! Off the top of my head,
let me just to be specific about the three divisions. About that.
Yeah. Well, okay. I think he had was it lightweight first or featherweight, and then he went to welterweight and got that title, and then came back down to lightweight. Is that how it went? I think he's jumped over like what would be in today's boxing like 5 divisions or something to get a welterweight title, and came back down and scooped up one more when there were only 8 divisions. And like, and in this case, if there were all those other divisions in between back then, he might have been able to do 8 right there, just between the divisions that he wanted. So,
in an era with how many belts?
I believe it was just 1 at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was before you had the WBA and WBC. So, yeah.
And if there was another title, it was disputed, and they handled that right away, right?
Well, so, like with Ali and Ernie Terrell, when they came out with, the other belt, and then he had to, like, unify.
Yeah.
But everyone knew Ali was the champ.
Everybody knew. Everybody knew it. But here's the thing. I am tired. I'm sick of, like, every single time Pacquiao wins a fight, this happens, dude. Every single time. All right? Every single time Pacquiao wins, dudes come out, he's the best of all time. It's clear. It's without question. Shut up. All right? These dudes don't go away. They don't go away, and then you wonder why people want to see Pacquiao get his ass beat. All right? It's not so much because of him. It's because, his fan base.
Stupid fans, yeah.
I mean,
it's not all of his fans, but like,
of course not,
rabid, extreme Pacquiao fans.
They're coming out of the woodworks, bro. Oh, he's arguably the best ever. Based on what? Based on
beating Thurman, not to me.
Does the best of all time struggle, whether you think he won or not? Does he struggle against a Jeff Horn?
No.
Does the best of all time, fail to knock out Keith Thurman?
Nope.
There's just no way.
If he were to beat Crawford and Spence, which he won't, then, I could see people saying that. But they've been saying that for years already. They were saying that when he beat De La Hoya. He's better than Henry Armstrong. Like, it's just extreme, dude. And, like, they're not – wait till his career's over, and then we'll see where he falls in place. He is a very good fighter, and I understand.
I don't have to wait till the end of his career to know he's not the best of all time.
Oh, not for that.
Right.
Just to rank him, where do we put him on the list,
Right. I got you.
But, yeah, he'll never crack this top 10.
We don't even know how, look, all wins guys, they have an age, the way they age, right? Like, whether we like it or not, Mayweather's win over Canelo's aging very well. That win is aging good, right? It is, okay? We don't know how let's say Thurman, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but just hypothetically. Let's say he has a comeback fight and wins that one, and then let's say he fights Spence and then he just pulls the upset and he beats Errol Spence, right? That win would age very well. That's not going to happen, though. Right? But it is absolutely ridiculous, all right? How low are the standards if beating Thurman, I don't care if you're 40 years old, makes you the best of all time, dude? This shit, it's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. It's ridiculous. That poll's ridiculous. Okay, all these people coming out of the woodworks, the Pactars popping their heads back out. Where the fuck were you guys when Marcus knocked his ass out? I couldn't find you, right? And as far as the accomplishments, look, man, Ray Robinson would have had multiple divisions too if he had that many divisions when he was fighting. All right? And I don't want to hear, well, he was such a smart. Look, man, Robinson
he had
that were a lot bigger than him.
He had multiple divisions. He did have multiple divisions.
No, well, he did, but he would have had more. If they had 154 back then. If they
would have had that too.
If they had 168, you know what I mean?
For sure.
But what I'm trying to say is, at the end of the day, right? He hasn't boxers today have inflated records. All right, it's just the way it is. So you can't say, well, Pacquiao's an 8 division world champion, therefore that makes him the best of all time. That's ridiculous. By that logic, Broner is like top 4 all time or some shit. By that logic, you know, is Broner top 10 all time? Because he's a 4 division champion.
No, not
All right.
even close.
So like it's ridiculous, dude. Like when you say, Ali only wanted one title, how can Ali win championships in other divisions if his weight and all that, it wasn't possible, dude. He didn't have 5 different divisions. He couldn't take a shit and fight in the weight class below that. But I was going to make a point. Robinson fought dudes that were way bigger than him. A bigger weight disparity than Pacquiao against Thurman. All right? Or many of the other guys he fought.
He also almost beat, what's his name? The light heavyweight champion.
Yeah.
Joey Maxim.
In the sun, right? Yeah, he got exhausted his shit.
Heat exhaustion, but he was winning that fight.
Yeah, he would have been, which would have been amazing. All right, that's the equivalent of Manny Pacquiao, all right, going to, 160 right now, right? Pretty much.
I think more. I'd say maybe super middleweight.
Yeah, probably. But they'll say, I want to give myself a little room because I know what they're going to say. Oh, no, Manny's only 5'5". And, people confuse height with, like when people say, oh, well, no, Robinson was a big middleweight because of his height.
Nope.
You know what I mean? Like height is not size.
Very thin-boned.
Very thin-boned, small waist. Okay, that's
small shoulders.
Absolutely. Medium frame at best, bro. Medium frame, medium built at best. All right? So don't give me this nonsense. All right? I know it's a lot for a lot of people out there to handle haplotype, but can you explain the difference with height and size? Can you do that?
Well, I mean, bone density is a big part of it. I have my brother-in-law. He's like way shorter than me. And he's so much heavier than me because I have sort of light bones, and he's a very big bone dude. So height really doesn't measure how big you are in terms of a boxer or how strong you're going to be or anything. I mean, look at Tommy Hearns, who's definitely taller than Mike Tyson, but Mike Tyson was a heavyweight. So, it's pretty clear that height is not a good measure. It's a good measure of whether or not you can fight tall and like use that to your advantage. Some guys can do that. Other guys do it terribly. So, height is not the way to go. I think Pacquiao definitely has grown into a full-fledged welterweight at this point. I think, I didn't see much of a size difference between him and Thurman in there the other night.
Yeah, it wasn't. I mean, I think Thurman was slightly bigger guy.
Slightly bigger, yeah, of course.
But it's not like people are making it. Dude, people are making it sound like it was Neri, like Neri in there and some shit. Okay, like they're acting like Pacquiao's fucking losing Neri's size, right now. Like no, dude. All right, you guys got to calm the fuck down. Like the way you guys are talking. Yes, and Neri went up and beat Thurman. Yes, that would blow my mind. All right. But that's not what happened. This dude's been fighting at welterweight, dude. All right? He's been knocking dudes down, dude. He had, I don't remember it was at 140, 147, but he had Algeria doing backflips and shit and somersaults. Remember that shit?
Yeah.
Right? So it's not like, it's out of the question. I don't know. That's just me. Right? That's just me. But this talk about him being the best of all time, that talk needs to stop. Okay?
Yeah, it's silly.
I think it's silly bypassing all the legends the way they do in such a disrespectful way. Is silly. All right.
Whenever someone says that, DStyle, what they're telling you is that they don't really know that much about boxing history. And they probably couldn't name half the guys that I put on my top 10 list right here.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Did Robinson ever get slept?
Not that I know of.
No. He didn't get slept. All right. Pacquiao he slept 3 times, bro. All right. Now, that doesn't mean that disqualifies him from being a great fighter, but in my opinion, it disqualifies you from being the greatest of all time. That's just what I think. And it's not like it happened, way late in his career, like it happened.
Some of them were early on.
Some of them early on. Marquez was, an old dude himself as well. I'm just saying. All right. So if people out here telling me Marquez knocked out the greatest fighter of all time, apparently.
Wouldn't that make Marquez the greatest fighter of all time?
I guess. But what about the dudes that beat Marquez? That makes him the greatest?
I guess Chris John is probably the greatest of all time then.
Probably. This shit's insane, dude. And I think it's disrespectful to a lot of the legends. Honestly, it is. All right? And I'm not really putting this on Pacquiao, bro, but I don't even know how this is reemerging. I honestly felt that after Marquez knocked him out, we were never going to hear this talk ever again.
Yeah. People just get excited, man. They don't really know what they're talking about.
Now, let me just give a quick shout out here to Afro Rican with a $3.99 donation to the DStyleBoxing Fund. Thank you very much, Afro Rican. All right, I see guys in the chat here. G-Funk says, I think one or two of the belts that Pacquiao won was in a world championship. Yeah, but the thing is, bro, when you engage in that conversation with them, all right, they think you're debating something legitimate as far as in terms of like it's always been there to achieve in boxing, and it hasn't always been there, right? A lot of the legends, these weight classes did not exist. They had same day weigh-ins, not day before weigh-ins, where guys rehydrate.
Some of them weighed in the ring.
Some of them weighed in the ring, exactly. All right. The culture was just different, okay? And they would come in on fight night, okay? Robinson weighed in the high 140s, like 148, 149 for some of his middleweight title fights, right? So when people keep talking about, oh, this guy is amazing because he was outweighed by 10 pounds a day of the fight. Like if it's something new, like it's not, bro. Okay? It's not something new, right? So as far as getting outweighed used to be a very normal thing, and it was not always considered to be the advantage. It just depends. Just like at heavyweight today. But that aside,
well, if you go back far enough, D-Style, there was only one division. Everybody fought in that division.
Well, I'll respectfully disagree. I'll say there was no divisions.
Right.
It means it's the same thing. I'm playing semantics, but there was no such thing as a division. All right. There was a no. Should I use my Sharpie for this? I'm gonna have to use my Sharpie for this. Okay. I'm gonna have to use a Sharpie for this because this is getting ridiculous, bro. All right. By the way, before I continue, Nelson Santos, always losing my wrench and always showing love, says Nelson Santos. That's all right, bro. I'll give you a wrench. Don't worry about it. This is a long story. I have to clear out the wrenches. Okay, but it's a long story. I don't want to dive into that right now. But thank you very much for that donation to the DStyleBoxing Fund. You guys showing true love. And remember, for those that want to donate in other forms, that there is the Cash App, $ DStyleBoxing. It is in the description. Anyway, with this said, this is what I'll say, okay? Back in the day, they had one division. One. Okay? So if you wanted to be the man and you weighed 150 pounds, Haplotype, what did you have to do?
You had to fight the biggest guys around. And
right.
It was that way for, I'd say like about 100 years.
Yes. And then they decided, okay,
middleweight was the first.
Exactly, it was.
Yeah.
Middleweight is technically the first weight class in history, right? If by the term, right? Because there was just boxing, and then they decided, you know what, we're going to create a division for the guys that weigh lower. Now, it wasn't necessarily 160. You'll probably know more about this than me, Haplotype, but I've read into fights that were like contracted at 150 something or 160 something. It would depend.
It was a little lower, I think, and then you had the emergence of guys like Nat Langham, who fought in the early middleweight fights, and then later on, Jack Dempsey, the non-Pernell, not the main Jack Dempsey.
Absolutely.
But those guys were like the first middleweight champs. But before that, and I always bring these guys up, so I'm sure people are tired of hearing about it, but you guys like Bill Richmond and Mendoza, they had to fight the biggest guys, like, you know, the 6'2" guys, and they were little guys. They were
Yeah.
weighing, you know, 160, 150 in there.
Well, after that, man, this half right here, these guys, once in a while, they would come up and fight the big guys. It was not uncommon for the middleweight champion to go up and challenge the heavyweight champion of the world, right?
True.
Because even though the culture was just different. So even though you were the middleweight champion, you were still like the champion of the little guys. You know what I mean? But if you want to prove you were the baddest dude, you had to fight in basically what was an open weight class, which was heavyweight, right?
Right.
So it's you could weigh under a certain. There was no like you have to weigh at the scales at this weight. That just doesn't really exist in heavyweight. I don't even think a heavyweight has to weigh over 200 pounds today. I could be wrong about that, but nonetheless, these right here, they cut this in half, okay, and they made lightweight, all right, and then they cut this in half, and they made featherweight, right, so on and so forth. And before you knew it, they started to put. They had the original 8 weight classes. They had light heavyweight at one point, right, and then they started adding more weight classes after that. I just wanted an excuse to use my Sharpie, but still, anyway. Right. With that said, Haplotype, you have any final thoughts on this charade, bro?
I think it's silly to try to, you know, boost up Manny Pacquiao to being the greatest of all time. Isn't he great enough just being who he is without trying to overblow it? I mean, he's given us a lot of great fights. We've had a lot of fun watching him. He doesn't have to be the greatest fighter of all time. He's really good, and he's going to be an ATG. He's going to go down in history, and when he's done, you know, after a few years and everybody calms down, they'll place him somewhere in the list of greatest fighters of all time, and then he'll have his place, and he'll get into the Hall of Fame. And, you know, he doesn't have to be the greatest of all time just for you to like him. But did you happen to see the Dillian White Mando fight?
Yeah, I did see that fight. I caught it later, though. Later.
Me too. I caught it later.
Well, what are your thoughts on that fight, man?
He looked vulnerable, dude. To me, he looked vulnerable throughout that fight. I know he won, but now he's the mandatory for Wilder. So, you know, I hope he gets that fight. I want to see him get his ass whooped. That's all I wanted to say about that.
Yeah. Well, I think it was controversial, and I felt it was, but I think he is gonna get knocked out by Wilder, bro. They do that fight.
Yep.
Like, there's no question in my mind Wilder's gonna knock that dude out, man. Okay.
Absolutely.
And I know people go, "Oh, you're hating." No, I'm being serious, bro. I think it's. If you think that's me hating, just wait for the fight to happen. By the way, you guys make sure you go vote on the polls. Were you able to catch the Plant Lee fight, Haplotype?
I saw the highlights. Not much really to talk about. Plant looked good. The other guy was obviously outmatched and just couldn't really get it going. But Plant's a talented guy. I want to see. I can't wait to see him step up a little in competition. See what he's really made of.
Yeah, I think he's looking good though. I think he's a really good fighter.
He looked sharp, but that could be the halo effect, you know, because the guy he was fighting was not that good.
Yeah, you're right about that. I still like his punch placements though. But really talented fighter. AJ10 and Ass One Addict going at it right now. Let me say this to Ass One Addict, okay? You say that the argument of, well, there wasn't that many weight classes before, but now there is, and Manny's the only one to do it. Till when, bro? I mean, it's only a matter of time before somebody breaks that record, the way it's going right now with the amount of bouts they have. You know what I mean?
Lots of guys have moved up divisions and collected belts, dude. I mean, De La Hoya.
Yeah, so is De La Hoya the second best fighter of all time then, by this logic? He won 6 divisions.
Middleweight title.
De La Hoya won at 130, 135, 140, 147, 154, and 160. 6 divisions. Okay? By this logic, we got to make him the second best of all time.
And I think his titles and all those, if I'm not mistaken, were all real titles, not like ceremonial
Right.
titles.
Now, I say he is clarifying that he does not consider Manny the best ever.
Okay.
I don't like the TBE guys. I just don't like it. The GOAT. Okay, greatest of all time. All right, but anyway, Manny to me is top 10. You could argue that that's more reasonable than number one. Okay, but I still don't have it on number 10 myself or top 10, but it's a little more reasonable. But just to address this point, man, again, you need to understand, Drew. Like, look how easy it is to become compared to yesteryear. Adrian Broner, bro, is a 4 division world champion. I mean, just let that like he won it in more divisions than Marco Antonio Barrera, dude. Okay, does that mean he's better?
This is the
No.
problem with having so many belts out there and guys being able to jump up to a division, catch a Paulie Malignaggi, who's kind of a weak champion, and steal a belt like that, and then they get to claim that they're 4 division champion. I mean,
Yeah.
he wasn't the best welterweight in the world when they called him a champion.
Right. No, it wasn't. And I don't. Does anybody remember the name of the dude he beat at 130?
Eloy something?
Was that it was?
Eloy Perez, or was it? I know he fought that guy. I don't know if that was who
Yeah.
he won the title from. Anyway, no, I don't
Yeah.
really remember.
Now, another thing I want to address, man, and I'm not the biggest Mayweather fan or anything like that, but I know he's a very talented fighter. But when people say, "Oh, Mayweather waited till everybody to get old," and Manny fought everybody in their prime, right? Everyone Manny Pacquiao fought was in their prime, absolute prime. And I think
it can't be true.
I mean, come on, you know,
He fought Mosley and De La Hoya after Mayweather.
Yeah, dude. Like at welterweight, they were playing patty cake with the same dudes, bro. Okay,
pretty much. Except
I
for
mean,
Quaddy.
And look, a lot of people are gonna hate this, but and I think Manny beats him even in his prime. I just think it's a closer fight, but Barrera was a little passive, bro. By the time Pacquiao got to him, dude, he had some wars in that ring.
Ton of wars.
Morales was shot born. He was still a great fighter. It's still a big win. Okay, but let's stop acting like only Mayweather fought dudes. Like everyone fights dudes past their prime. Everyone does. There's no way around it. Sometimes, you know what I mean. It's sometimes the guy is still the best in his weight class, but he's a little over the hill. It happens. You know what I mean. But I think there's a little bit of a double standard sometimes when it comes to this Mayweather Pacquiao thing. I think a lot of Pacquiao fans look at
there's a double standard from both sides.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so they just look at it from a specific angle, certain lens, but I don't know, man. Okay, I just think like you said, why can't we just enjoy Pacquiao for what he is, right? Why can't we just say, hey, man, he was 40-year-old, pretty impressive performance, beat a Keith Thurman, right?
Yeah, Thurman's a tough fighter.
But I'm just saying, calm down.
Yeah,
calm down. What do you mean he's the best in the division? Okay, so if I say, all right, then fight Spence now, fight Crawford now, right? So don't call me a hater because you guys are the ones saying he's the best in the division, right? So all I'm saying is, if you're like me, you just appreciate the win for what it is, and that's it. You don't make more out of it. Okay.
It was a good win. It was a good feather in his cap. He should move on and retire before he really goes out looking bad. He didn't look too good after that fight. Thurman took his pound of flesh from Pacquiao, even though he lost. And I could see the swelling. He didn't look how he used to look after fights, where he barely had a scratch on him.
Yeah.
And
that's right, AJ10. Different guys peak at different times of their careers. Some guys at 23, some guys at 33.
Very true.
That's absolutely right. Haplotype, I'm going to cover it more during the week, but you got any prediction for a Hooker versus Ramirez? Unification bout 140.
I took a little look at that in preparation for the show here. I like that. Both of them are good fighters. I think that I would pick at this point, just on the cursory little examination I did, I think I would pick Ramirez to win, because Hooker kind of gives up his height, and he also doesn't have a great chin. And I really like the way Ramirez puts his punches together.
Yeah.
He flows, and he's got like that jazz musician type punching where it's not formulaic, and he can just,
Okay. I like that. Huh?
mix it up, go upstairs, downstairs. You never know where he's going, so it's going to be tough to play defense against that. And if the other guy is going to win, he's going to have to use his height really well and his reach. And in the fight that I watched with him, which was Maurice Hooker versus Alex Saucedo, he was giving up his height and getting hit a lot in that fight, even though he did come back and win. So I think if Saucedo can give him that type of fight, then so can Ramirez.
Yeah. Now, just to correct Ask One Addict, that's not true, bro. Mayweather decided wanted to do that fight, okay? And Top Rank was not ready to put Cotto in the ring with Mayweather, okay? I just don't I don't see where you're getting that from, but it is what it is. Now, since Santos in the house says, why do people forget that Floyd tried to fight guys like De La Hoya and Mosey sooner when they were younger? He did. He did want to fight those guys, especially I know Mosey for sure. He wanted to fight Mosey for sure. Okay. And finally, AJ10, Manny fights guys in their prime, but you're a hater if you mention him fighting Spence and Crawford in their prime. So that's that. Any final thoughts, Haplotype, before we wrap this up?
No, I think that was good. Thank you for having me on. Peace to everybody in the chat. What's up?
Really quick. On Friday, we start Roy Jones Jr. Appreciation Week. What are your thoughts on Roy Jones dominating the polls?
Yeah, he really dominated. I kind of thought that would happen, though. Once you put his name up there, it's just too tempting not to click on it. Great career. You can find pretty much all of his classic fights on YouTube, and you guys should watch them. They are incredible. I think on eye test, Roy Jones possibly the best I've ever seen, just on the eye test, when he was in his prime, of course. Yeah. He did things that I've never seen anybody do.
Yep. Like put his hands behind his back, make a guy miss, and then come with a hook from his back and knock him out, shit like that.
Rooster pose he did against James Toney. I mean, to make James Toney look that bad, he got to be amazing.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, we all know how we got that, but it is what it is. His rap single, he even did a rap song that's actually okay.
Yeah, and a couple songs.
Yeah, Mayweather wanted to fight Cotto in 2005 at 140. Yeah, Mayweather wanted to fight Cotto, dude. Top Rank was not ready, and rightfully so, to put Cotto in the ring with Mayweather. All right? So I'm just saying. I know Haplotype's Puerto Rican, or part Puerto Rican. He might disagree with me, but I'm just saying.
No, I don't think you're wrong about that. I don't really remember, honestly, if they were trying to have Cotto fight him, but it didn't happen, so they must have been, being a little bit more careful. I think it was after he beat Judah that then they really started getting serious about talking about that fight.
What was the name of Roy's song? I must have forgot, man. I can't remember what the name of the song
I must have forgot.
Oh, that's the name of the song. All right.
But apparently no one forgot, is what you said.
Yeah, apparently nobody forgot. All right. But there's another song I like better, way better. That one's okay, but Can't Be Touched, or what's it called? What the hell?
Yeah. Can't Be Touched. That one.
Yeah, absolutely. That's actually a good song.
Yeah, it is.
I'm just like, damn, that's a pretty good song.
That was on one of the video games, I remember.
I've heard that song at like football games, like on TV. I'm like, they're playing Roy's song? What the hell? Like, what I mean? Like, it's crazy, man. He has better rap than Shaq, says Tim Gallegos.
Shaq had a hit too in the 90s when he came to LA.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't know.
One of his songs did pretty well.
Yeah. Well, we will definitely cover the most next week, guys. Appreciation. We will have Haplotype back, and we'll talk Roy Jones Jr. and Scrapbook Boxing in the house. My two bros, DStyle and Haplotype. What's good? You guys make sure right now you press on Scrapbook Boxing, his name, and go subscribe to him. All right. A lot of great stuff. Great content. Check it out. And I saw Ashley a little earlier today. I didn't have an opportunity to shout him out, but shout out to Ashley. Make sure you subscribe to him as well.
Yeah,
And
shout out to those guys, Scrapbook and Ashy. Two good guys.
Maypac says, but DStyle, you don't understand, man. I think we'd be great friends. You're funny, motherfucker. All right. 40 Shaq had good rap song. Keep it boxing. All right, guys. That's right, Nelson Santos. This is DStyleBoxing. And what's that saying, Haplotype?
Keep it boxing.
Peace.